Hey, how you doing? This is Politics with Laura. I have a barn burner for you today. Um, just see it all the way through. Now, what was February? Actually, January. The latter part of January, there was a train that was left unattended in LA. This was not the first time this was done. No, not by far. It was said to have been robbed, but it had other packages. But the ones that really meant the most was it had guns and ammunition that was just left in what was considered at the time South Central LA, but now called South LA. I like South Central, but that's just me. And you can see people going through this stuff. They're picking away at it. And and it is my belief that this train left with all this ammo and some packages, but that has nothing to do with it, and guns, has everything to do with what's going on in the Ukraine today. Because they did this before. This wasn't the first time they did this. They did it before. And I'm going to prove it to you. Let's go back a little bit. In 1980s, there was again a train left unattended in South Central LA to where there was um, train cars left with guns, ammo, and guess what? Cocaine. But it was found out later on by a whistleblower that said that the CIA had a lot to do with it, which doesn't surprise me at all. I call the CIA criminals in action because they are. Now, with this, all of a sudden, you start having gang shootings. Gangs are forming, drug dealing. And this was not like that in the beginning of part of the 80s. All of a sudden, when all these guns and drugs were allowed to fester around in the areas, all of a sudden it became dangerous. So then South Central LA became a horrible place, gang infested area. To move the drugs, to do what? To, it had everything to do with Ollie North. It's been 40 years. There's information out about it. The Freedom of Information Act allowed it to come out. Now, after that, the same thing happened in Chicago. Chicago had its problems, but it wasn't Chi-Town at that time as what it is now. 2013, the same thing. A train left unattended. Unattended. You get the exact date. A gang train unattended. I'm trying to find this day. I know it's 2013. 2013, same thing. Also, before that, there were guns and drugs left in, I can't remember what alleyway, but it was also in Chicago. Kids running up grabbing this stuff, shooting everything up. But back to Ronald Reagan. Let me see, where is it? And and the whole thing was to get a stronghold in Central America. Now you're probably thinking, Laura, you're taking this too far. You have every You could say that. You could most definitely say that. But if you look up this article, and I think that they did a great job with this, and I'll leave this in the comment section for anyone to take a look at. You could take a look at that. Look at my source. So let me see. The Iran Contra scandal was really something. It was big. Send, they were exchanging missiles for hostages for them to have these things. But where Nicaragua comes in now, Nicaragua is in a strategic place. Strategic. They went. The CIA went down, and the CIA wasn't able to go in and just take over on Nicaragua like that. No, they had them start fighting amongst each other, overthrow the president, put the president that they wanted in. But while they were doing that, they were giving them guns, and the government had to find a way to finance it some way. Why not put crack cocaine in South Central LA? Big. They could get money and have it spread across the United States. Yeah, well documented. But I digress. Back to Chicago. This freight train, the guns, boxes and boxes of them, are a part of the shipment that is designated for the gun companies and gun shops across the country. But the gangsters have caught on to the practice, and they start ransacking these trains and stealing weapons that eventually made their way through the city's blood-soaked streets. Now, I don't like the fact that they're calling people gangsters. No, but okay, they're wording. Now, the question is this: why is a train left unattended if it's supposed to go around the United States, going to gun companies and shops? Why do they leave it unattended? Hmm. Maybe it was simply there for them to do exactly what they did. I don't know of any business person who would have that practice, but that's just me thinking out loud. Let me see. Chicago's record: 762 homicides in 2016. Now, I stated this happened in 2013, and it did. But for things, it took a couple of years to get it crazy the way it was. 2016, crime up 57% from the previous year. And here's the interesting part. Okay, where's that? In the city already reeling from one of the most violent crime waves in years, where tens of thousands of firearms are recovered from the streets every year. 150 stolen guns might not seem like a big deal, but one single gun can be linked to at least 14 fatal shootings, according to the ATF. Now, ask yourself, why? Why Chicago? First LA, now Chicago. What is it about Chicago for them to simply just leave it? There has to be a reason for the train to stop right there, the engineer get out, people that run the train, everybody gets out and walks off and leaves that train right there. There's a reason for it. Why Chicago? I'm going to find out why. I'm going to keep on digging and digging and digging until I find it. Now, Let's go to what's going on again. Now, back to LA. Scores of scores of guns, and this happened this year in January. This was reported January 29th. Scores of stolen guns from trains cause more problems in LA. And you see people running all over the place. That's the title of the article, Yahoo News. Okay, in August, Los Angeles police officers arrested two people in Lincoln Heights carrying a pair of shiny new 22 caliber handguns. These guns were clean, as thought they came right off the shelf. Not at all. Excuse me. Not all like the ones typically found following arrests. Just days later, officers patrolling a neighborhood northeast LA arrested a person with a similar handgun. It is the same pristine condition. A trace of the weapon revealed that the camera or that they came from a batch of 36 handguns reported missing as they were being shipped to the train to Tennessee, Los Angeles Police Department officials said. One of the suspects arrested revealed that he had bought the weapon on the street and that they had come from a cargo train in the nearby Lincoln Heights rail yards. So they just leave it there. I'm not an expert on shipping. No, I'm not. Far from it. But I have common sense. Now, if you have something like that and you're shipping it, you're going to leave people there to guard it, not just leave it there and anyone can walk up and just take it. There's more to this. And I have a my spidey senses are going off. So they do this, right? Let me find the other article that I had. All right. This comes from Newsmax. It came out today, but it basically has the same thing, but it goes in a little more. Okay, the robbers have been looting cargo containers on a section of the Union Pacific train tracks in downtown Los Angeles for months, taking packages and leaving thousands of shredded boxes. People were breaking into the containers and stealing firearms, tens and thousands. Los Angeles Police Chief Michael Moore told the LAPD Board of Police Commissioners on Monday. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound right to you? They've been having several robbery break-ins and stealing these guns, and nothing was done about it. They didn't put somebody down there. They didn't put a guy down there that was elderly to sit there and have a little billy club and let him just sit there and fall asleep. I mean, some type of security down there. Zilch. You can't tell me that was not a setup. They did that on purpose. Now, in the 1980s, the US did that, and it had everything to do with what was going on in the Middle East at that time. But they used Nicaragua to destabilize it to gain money. Now, what country are they after now? I'll give you a hint. Who's fighting over there in Europe? Bingo, Ukraine. I can't prove what I'm saying. I'm only saying what I feel. However, if you were to really stop and think about it, you would come, I feel confident in saying you will come to the same conclusion as well. There is more going on over there in the Ukraine that meets the eye. The US backing this, giving them guns and money, and they're after Russia. Now, whether if you want to believe it or not, we got to do a little history on this. The Warsaw Pact, I did other videos on this. The Warsaw Pact was to protect other countries from the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union hasn't existed since the 1990s. They've been gone for 30 years. However, the Warsaw Pact, meaning the United Nations, to where all the countries signed a treaty to not come around the Soviet Union or right now Federation of Russia borders. They got Latvia, Lithuania, Republic of Georgia, Poland, and now Ukraine. Ukraine is positioned to where it's like what, like 3 hours from Moscow, and and Russia is not supposed to protect its borders. Now, I'm not pro Russia or pro Ukraine. I'm just pro truth. That's it. Just truth. What is the truth of it? And the truth of it is they had a peace treaty, and it was disregarded little by little. And who heads NATO? The United States. It does. Even though it has other European countries, yes, but the United States leads it. It does. It's called US NATO. Oh man, I hope I don't get my channel shut down for this. I really hope I don't, but it's true. It is true. Now, that area has been destabilized. I mean, the US, you have, what's her name? Nikki. Oh man, her name is right here, but it's not coming out here. Oh my goodness, Nikki. I can't remember her last name, but she is the undersecretary of the undersecretary of state of the United States, or she's a U.S. diplomat to the Ukraine. And Joe Biden's son is up to this in his eyeballs. I mean, he's so into this, and I did a video on that previously too, to where he got a whole lot of money from a gas company in the Ukraine, and also the Federation of Russia too, playing two sides of the same coin. This stuff is really deep, 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 deep. But I'm not going to keep you too long. I just wanted to give you the foundations of it on this, and I'm going to build on this video. So, thank you for having Politics with Laura. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, leave some messages. If you think I'm just totally off base saying Politics with Laura, you don't know what you're talking about. Let's discuss it. Okay, well, thank you for stopping by.